Nostalgia. It is a benefit to have this if you're going to do a retro gaming channel. Yes, I do love ZX Spectrum games, but I'd be lying if I didn't say that at least a percentage of my desire to play them wasn't aided by the fact that I had a childhood playing these colour clash filled, minimal memory usage, poorly controlling tape cassettes, some of which you can't even finish because they didn't bug test them properly. Nostalgia certainly helped me out there. Food also has that rare magic. Yes, Five Guys is over there, but look, it's a bloody Wimpy. Let's go there and not drown in frankly shoddy, though generous amounts of chips. Why? Because I went to Wimpy as a kid. One has just opened up in my hometown, some 25 years or so since there was last one in that town. And you know what? I had some and it's alright, I guess. I should have gone to Greg's really, it's cheaper. And yes, I ordered a bender in a bun because yes, it is the most childishly named thing I saw on the menu and it's got a funny name. Bender in a bun. That is inherently funny, although slightly homophobic. Anyway, there was a retro game based on Wimpy. And without this historic purveyor of unhealthy tuck, this McDonald's for Daily Mail readers, this eatery of crap cuisine, we wouldn't have a game to review this week. So let's just have a quick look at the history of Wimpy before we get to the meat of the matter. Do you see? Burgers are made out of meat. Yeah, dead animal flesh puns. Yes, that's what we're doing. So people think of Wimpy as a British institution. In fact, it's not at all, as it was founded in Bloomington, Indiana, USA in 1934. And yes, indeed, that burger-hungry character in Popeye, in other words, Wimpy, is the inspiration behind the name. I always wondered that, and I found that out when researching this video. The chain built up a modest deal of domestic success, opening 26 restaurants, before unfortunately disappearing completely from the US upon the death of founder Edward Gold in 1977, as no one purchased the Wimpy trademark. At that time, there were just 7 locations left in the whole of the USA that were branded with the name Wimpy. Despite its failings on home soil, Wimpy was a bigger success abroad, with the UK getting its first restaurant in 1954 in Coventry Street in London. You see, an American hamburger parlour in the UK was a very exciting prospect back then, with McDonald's not wanting to bother the land of tea and crumpets until 1974. At their peak, Wimpy had 381 locations in Britain, but eventually that bastard clown from the United States would come in and stomp the beef-eater mascot right in his crown jewels. Many closed during a period of domination by McDonald's, but Wimpy has had a mini UK revival thanks to the owning company from the country where Wimpy had its biggest success, which, strangely enough, was South Africa. There are 509 restaurants still open over in South Africa, and it's also the location of the company's headquarters. Though South Africans, eh? What a lovely bunch of burgers. As for the mini revival in the UK, well, as of July 2022, there are 64 restaurants back in Britain. Will it make a comeback? Well, after having their bender in a bun, not bloody likely. Bender in a bun, still funny. So yes, at Wimpy's UK pomp in 1984, those cheeky upstarts at Ocean, who formed just a year before, would start a long-standing love affair with the officially licensed game. They started this splurge by buying up the trademarks of varied properties such as the Royal Birkdale Golf Championship, the legendary decathlete Daley Thompson, and yes, this, Mr. Wimpy, the eyeless goon who pimps out his meat in the glare of the red lights of his workplace. Honestly, so many go in and force his flesh down their throat and then just up and leave their stains for him to clean up. Right, sorry, I just had to get in my little innuendo side tangent because otherwise people might mistake this channel for something decently researched and edited and presented by someone charismatic and charming like Slope's Game Room or Top Hat Gaming Man or Kim Justice. No, you're down in the gutter with me, and I must apologise for that. I make no apology. So anyway, how on earth do you make a game based on a down market chain restaurant? Well, you look into another venue with questionable hygiene and very sticky floors. The arcade. Early Ocean had a bit of a habit of borrowing concepts from the numerous arcade companies that were scoffing coins in other areas of the motorway service stations away from your Wimpy. Fellow Early Ocean titles included Eskimo Eddie, which was essentially Pengo. Rollerball was Kicks. Gilligan's Gold was Bagman. Kong Strike Back was, well, obviously based on, yep, you've guessed it, Tekken 7. And even Daley Thompson's Decathlon is highly derivative of a legendary arcade game, that of course being Track and Field. Mr. Wimpy's has definitely stolen its gameplay from another major arcade game of the time, but not so you'd know from its first level. We'll come back to its inspiration in a minute. Let's just look at this first, much weaker level on the game's biggest selling 3 formats that it came out on, those being the Commodore 64, the BBC Micro and the ZX Spectrum. I mean, it did also come out on the Auric, and yes, I could hunt down an Auric emulator, but also I could spend that time saying Bender in the bun repeatedly and laughing to myself for all the viewers it would actually bring in. So yes, this first level, you as the eponymous huge schnozzed burger salesman must bring back all the delicious burger ingredients to your Wimpy by running to the supplier with a tea tray. For some reason you can only carry one each of the ingredients at a time, those being the patty, the tomato and the cheese. And do you know what? I'm appalled by this. First up, sir, your particular branch of the franchise that you're managing must be in dire straits. You've clearly not ordered all the ingredients you need to run it. You've had to head to the shop to pick up food so you can serve your customers, and you're clearly even more badly organised than we suspected because you keep forgetting stuff and having to go back again. And you keep taking a bloody tea tray with you instead of a bag. And even then, you've forgotten to get buns. If you spent less time dressing up as a Prince Andrew protecting royalist, maybe you'd be able to run your business a little bit better. So, yes, your mal-organised beef proprietor has to jaunt across the screen evading the so-called mad manholes as Mr. Wimpy will fall down them, break his spine and get turds on the burgers in the sewers below. Further complicating things is this idiot, this cheeky bastard, Waldo. Well, he won't take away your lives, but he will take your grub and make you have to start your whole journey over and over again. There may well be a tragic backstory about this bug. Maybe he's stealing food for his family and is in essence a sympathetic character. But as it's a phoned-in precursor level for the main game, and he's, well, like this level as a whole, profoundly irritating, I don't think I care. On to the main multi-level part of the game, and forgive me if you've seen this one before, because yes, you have. Yes, it is, of course, the Data East classic, Burger Time. And finally, the game gets interesting, because Burger Time is an all-time classic, deserving to be mentioned in the same breath as Golden Era classics such as Pac-Man and Donkey Kong. It's all here, having to stomp down buns to get them to form burgers, being chased by insane psychopathic ingredients that can be crushed under the weight of the buns to become bonus point earning extra portions. You can stun the food with pepper. There's multiple stages of Burger Time aping goodness. This is Burger Time on the 8-bit formats. Well, on the Commodore 64 and Spectrum versions anyway. I couldn't play the BBC one because the version of the game I emulated just crashed every time this level loaded up, meaning that the bit of the game you're left to play on the BBC version is the really bad bit. And once again, let us, pun intended, stop to look at how bad this eatery is run. The portion sizes are 8 humans wide, showing that the proprietor is a bit of a spendthrift. The patron uses his beshewed feet to prepare the food, stomping them down with his size 8 boots. Some of the ingredients are so out of date they're actually now bloodthirsty sentient creatures, and his kitchen is a ladder scattered health and safety disaster area. 1 bloody hygiene star for you, son. I think it's a pretty competent tribute to the original, and as Burger Time was never officially ported to the Spectrum or the BBC, though it was the Commodore 64, it's definitely worth playing, well, as long as you can tolerate that worthless first level anyway. The February 84 edition of CMVG gave the game a 78%, saying Mr.Wimpy was the best version of Burger Time around. Crash reviewed it in March 1984, and they gave it a 77. They said that the graphics are nicely animated and drawn, and Mr. Wimpy is fun to play. Who are we to disagree? People with opinions like Wimpy Food. It's not great, but the game is. The first level is like a Mackie D gherkin, but the rest of it is a glowing tribute to one of the best games of the era. Come on over to my place. Hey you, we're playing a Wimpy. But yeah, Bender in a bun. Next time in the weird licenses, I think we need to look at a NES game based on possibly the most 80s vehicle in existence. And yes, I'm including the Ecto-1, Street Hawk, Airwolf, the DeLorean, Kit and the A-Team van, all in that. I am, of course, talking about the Bigfoot. Yes, the Bigfoot. So, for now, like, subscribe, and K, thanks, bye.